You got challenges that you're going to run across.
Besides talent, you already know my answer. And I believe that mental toughness is every successful person had to have that in some, unless it was a family tradition, a family business handed down to you, but you still got to maintain it. But I'm just saying, everybody in my mind that's successful have to deal with this. I got to figure out how to make this thing run. I got to go through whether I got to invest money, whether I got to take my last piece of money, as my mother would say, my last piece of change, and take that and invest it, don't have anything. And that's a mental toughness mindset, a thought that I got to win by, like FedEx owner, when he couldn't pay the bills, he went to the casino and, hey, roll the dice on getting the money to come back. That was a mental toughness thing there to go say, I got to, we're going to either win or we're going to lose, one of the two. Besides talent, and let's just say besides me talking about mental toughness, what else do you think a person needs to have success in life?
Talent is one thing. I think talent is good. If you have it, that's great. But there's a lot of people that are doing very well with limited talent. So talent is just a small piece of the equation. It's a piece, but a small piece. I think even bigger than that is the opportunity. And then on top of that, the exposure. If you can generate, you could have a minimal amount of talent, but you have the right opportunity, and then the exposure, that'll kick you into the next level. I watch people that have subpar companies, but then when they came out with that TV show Shark Tank, and they were putting these people with some very average products on the Shark Tank, 40 million viewers, and next thing you know, their product is a household name. It was the exposure behind it, and we're really seeing an influx of that from shows like America's Got Talent, The Voice, American Idol. People with very subpar talent. Even, and I'm not knocking this guy in any way, but Ryan Seacrest, he was one of the first hosts of American Idol. Now, this guy owns like 50 radio networks across the country, and he's doing New Year's Eve presentations every year on the biggest networks on TV. I would say Ryan at that point had limited talent. Young man from Dunwoody, I'm proud of him, representing Georgia. But he was able to really cascade that into something big, something huge. But it's the exposure piece of it. We have to find the way to get the exposure. And that's what we're seeing with social media now. These young folks coming in with a different mind, they're not worried about how much talent they have. They're trying to build up followers. And if they have followers, then they know they can get exposure. And if they can get that exposure, they know that some of these networks and apps will pay them for the eyeballs that they get on their videos. So, talent is one thing, but don't lean on it. Don't get down if you don't have it. Find a way to get the opportunity and the exposure. There's a whole team that surrounds LeBron James that didn't score 38,000 points on the basketball court, but they're getting money, they're getting paid because they found a niche where they can help LeBron continue his career. So maybe you're not putting the ball in the basket, but you're enabling other opportunities to come, and it's providing exposure once you do it.
Okay. Few mental toughness questions I want to ask you right quick. And if you were in the elevator and you had two levels, you was on the second floor going to the first floor, and my answer, and I want to give your answer. If somebody asks me what is mental toughness from the second to the first, I'm gonna say being uncomfortable. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That's one thing. And also always finding fuel in that tank when it's empty. You always figuring out another way for mental toughness. That's my answer. But mental toughness, it can be a lot of other broad answers. What would you say a quick answer to when somebody says, man, that dude is mentally tough? What is that?
I think you got to find a way to enjoy what you're doing. If you find a way to enjoy what you're doing, one, you'll do it well, and two, you won't have the desire to quit. So if you can find a way to make it fun, any great athlete will tell you, man, I love whatever it is. I love basketball. I love football. If they love it, it's not as hard to get up and do it every day. It's not as hard to do the workouts because you understand what you're doing. So try to find a way to enjoy what you're doing.
Okay.
And that could be mentally challenging as well. That could be tough. That's no easy task. Yeah. But if you can, it makes those tasks easier to maneuver.
I always say you can make yourself enjoy anything. Like, when people say, I'm looking for my purpose. You remember the purpose? You remember it really got popular when the brother in Atlanta that was in the courtroom grabbed the gun and what was his name? He took off through the building and
Brian Nichols.
yeah, Brian Nichols. Remember, he went over his lady's house, which probably was his girlfriend, but he claimed it wasn't. And
Right.
when they interviewed her, she said, I was sitting there reading The Purpose-Driven Life. And boy, after that, everybody was looking for their purpose. I got to find my purpose. It's amazing that because of how powerful the media is, this lady talking about one book that she read, and everybody, instead of looking at Brian Nichols, they looking at, I got to find my purpose and find my purpose. And I always said, you better decide on something and make it your purpose.
That's right.
You can learn to do anything. I remember before I got married, I wasn't a big animal fan. I wasn't but my wife loved animals. She loved dogs and stuff. And I remember a counselor I was talking to said that you're gonna love dogs too. And I'm like, so after I got married, I realized I kind of love dogs, but at first I didn't. I learned to do that. So you can learn to do almost anything. But back to what you're talking about, sports. How do you feel about, do you think growing up as a child playing sports? Because I noticed a lot of business people also play sports. And then maybe it might be the team thing or anything, but do you think that you learned a lot of mental toughness things while you were playing as a kid?
I think it's probably one of the best things a child could do is play sports. Because they learn, even if they're not at the top level, you're going to learn what it means to win. You're going to learn what it means to lose. You're going to learn what it means to need to make some self-improvements, maybe some assessments. You may learn that, you could quit today, but that's not the best thing for you. How to work with teams. And I know a lot of corporate recruiters look for people or individuals that have sports backgrounds because they get so many leadership traits that come out of those. So yeah, I do. I think that having some type of sports background benefits all of us.
Mm-hmm. I think corporate America, and I believe Deion talked about that. Coach Prime, when he's at Jackson State, he talked about that. All these corporations, when they go to the what do you call it? I remember going down to that particular building when I got ready to graduate to interview.
The career fair or
yeah. He said the career fair needs to be with a lot of these athletes. He said 98% of these people are not going to the NFL, but they got leadership skills. They want to be a leader. I mean, they are a leader. So you ought to set up a fair to be talking to these guys about going into business because they have that. They know how to be on a team. They know how to create a team. They have the leadership with it, the mental toughness that comes with it. They have everything in place. But a lot of times we skip that. We don't, you notice that they don't let athletes, well, not don't let, but a lot of guys that probably should have gone through corporate America and been a leader there was never really interviewed or even talked to about that. So so you're saying that you feel like that sports is a way to develop that mental toughness?
It is. Sports is a way, and I think it's what we were just talking about, a way to enjoy life, enjoy things.
Mm-hmm.
For most people, sports are fun, right? Now, I don't care what level you are. If you just like being on a team because my friend's on the team, it's fun. So now you can learn some basic life skills with very minimal risk, right? If you lose the game, it's okay. You come back next Friday, you got another game. So there's very minimal risk, but you can gain so much. And you start talking about those leadership qualities, those leadership traits, and you can learn from other good people on the team, right? You say, man, Tony can dribble down the court with using both hands and he didn't have to look at the ball. Well, guess what? I need to get outside and start using my left and right hand so I can dribble with both hands. Tony just made me better without Tony even knowing I was watching Tony. So there's some things we can pick up from each other on the court, and it happens every day, that makes us better in life. And learning how to win and learning how to lose. Graciousness, I think, is one of the best things you can learn from from this is just kind of how to be how to have sports etiquette, right? Just because you beat me, I'm not running up on you talking about yeah. I'm talking about your mom. I'm doing something. No, there's a way to win, there's a way to lose, and there's a way to come back tougher too. So hopefully that's what the young folks and even grown folks are getting from their interaction in sports.
Last question, the last thing I'm gonna wrap it up with, man. And I think this is a very important question. I hope everybody listening in, because when it comes to life, I think this answer is so important, and I just need to know what you think. The GOAT, Michael Jordan, or is it Crybaby King Bron? Which one is it? The GOAT, Michael Jordan, or Crybaby King Bron? What's your opinion?
Man, you want to get in trouble, you answer that question. Yeah, that's going to upset 95% of barbershops around the country. I have my feelings, and I'm slightly biased. From 90 to 93, my family was living in Chicago when they ran on that first run of that first three-peat. So I got to see Mike and experienced that level of dominance, and I think that's the difference. You can't take anything from LeBron on or off the court. This guy is a giant, and I say that to anybody who asks. Not only because he broke the record and he's the league's leading scorer and second in assists, which is almost like an oxymoron. You're leading the scorer, but you're also second in assists. So you're scoring the ball, but you're also passing the ball. So I can't knock LeBron. I would never knock LeBron. He's I say he is top notch. But if I got to pick a GOAT, it's got to be MJ. And the only reason I say that, there's a reason why I say that. When I look at what Michael Jordan did during his NBA career, he executed a level of dominance that says, as long as I'm on the court, you can't win a ring. You can't win a championship. And I don't judge the GOAT by who has the most rings.
Bill Russell.
Yeah, Bill Russell got the most rings.
Yeah.
But Robert Horry, who was on 3 teams, got 7 rings.
Right.
So I don't go by rings, but the dominance that Michael brought says, if I'm playing, you can't win. Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, as long as I'm on the court, y'all don't even have a chance. I don't think LeBron brings that to the table. He's a different type player. He's gonna find his way to some championships, some rings, but he's not gonna necessarily dominate and say, "Hey, Steph Curry, if I'm on the court, your team can't win." Greek Freak, if I'm on the court, you won't win a championship. That was a Michael Jordan mantra. This guy just felt that deeply from 90 to 93. Nobody else wins. I retire in 94, come back in 95, 96. I dominate again for the next 3 years. Basically, that level of dominance to me meant people respect LeBron, but they feared Jordan. And I think that's the difference. So I have to tip my hat to Michael in the number one spot and closely followed by LeBron James.
I mean, Mike had so many things besides his winning spirit and his fight, his mental toughness. I mean, he had his song, "To Be Like Mike," "If I Could Be Like Mike." And then not only that, I don't think nobody has ever topped that intro when he says, "And now, boy," when that came on, you were there at the court, you knew that was intimidation just then.
Man.
Starting that forward from North Carolina.
6'6".
God.
Yeah.
That was just that alone, those things there, man, I tell you. But Larry, I appreciate it, man. I enjoyed this, and bro, we're gonna do this again, because I plan on keeping this going. So we'll come back, some other time and talk about a lot of other topics. I just want to hear a little bit about you today and let the world know about Larry. Is it Larry Speaks?
Larry Speaks. Yeah. LarrySpeaks.com. Yeah. Man,
Yeah.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you, Tony. I've always respected you, a man of so many talents and much, as much success as we talked about on my side, we could say doubly on your side. So, thanks for having me, and hopefully we've changed somebody's life tonight.
Oh, yeah.
and
Definitely.
and if not, look, they need to reach out to us so we can give them some more hints and tips. Like, look,
Exactly.
let's have fun with it. Let's do it.
We're gonna be doing more things together anyway, Larry. So, man, appreciate your time. I just really do, man. So we're gonna close it out tonight. So anybody who's watching this, we're actually gonna put these out on YouTube again. Like I said, make sure you hit the like button, hit the all these things, because we're gonna have more mental toughness, elite psyche videos coming out. And like I said, Larry is our third person from the beginning. So you imagine the third episode, when we get to 100 episodes or 200 episodes, he was number 3. And that's special to me. So, all right, man, appreciate it. We're going to sign off, and y'all keep looking for the new videos coming out. We'll be putting them out soon. Thank you.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. Take care. Respect.
All right. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.